you don't always live in an era where there's an important one, in your town that you can join. In general, that's not what people do with life. And what I think has happened is, well, frankly, I'm going to connect it to the sexual revolution. Right? The sexual revolution creates the opportunity to get one of the most profound rewards, in fact, the most profound reward that the universe has ever produced, as far as we know, without having to invest very much work at all. Right? So by making sex common, it totally altered the way people viewed the number of years they had to live.
This was only possible with programming of women's mind through the women's lib movement and technology. These things had to come together. This is what we keep talking about. Is I don't think it's just organic that technology comes out, but they also want to maintain the frame and the image that people have when using the product, the new technology. So women's lib comes out and it couples with birth control to create this synthesis, this real world technology, and then the image and the ideology and the narrative that attaches to it. And now women today would rather die than give up birth control based on this narrative.
Right? They could afford to put off child rearing. Right? It could be distant in the future, which left all of these young people with all of this energy who might well not have been involved in movements if they were struggling to, raise a family.
Right, yeah.
But because the family part has been put off so long, right, it is considered abnormal to marry early. It is considered normal not to. What people do,
that's a propagandizing narrative.
Take the energy.
You take the energy. I think that's what he's going to say. They take the energy of young people and you turn them into activists for your cause, for the political cause, rather than parents for the future. And that does two things. It turns you into a citizen soldier for a cause that's outside of yourself, with the conclusions of that cause probably aren't going to be beneficial to you. And it also limits the amount of children being born, because if you push off child rearing to later in life, you're going to naturally have less kids.
The seriousness of purpose that would ordinarily be directed into managing a marriage and the role of being a parent, and they put it into something. And Heather has pointed out that this is especially powerful with young women who seem to take on causes, and they defend them like a mother defending her child.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a very powerful force. And the point is, if the idea is, well, climate change is a threat, and your role here on Earth is to make sure that that threat is addressed, and you put the mama bear energy into your climate change work, well, that's pretty frightening, especially if climate change isn't the threat that it's been made out to be, right? You have a large number of mama bears doing this ferocious work, and
for nothing.
There's a question about what it even is, whether that's even in the top 10 list of concerns we ought to have. So anyway, the connection I wanted to draw is that the projection that you're telling me Elon has made about high income for everybody is a little bit like another version of that, right?
Yep.
It's like, okay, well, sex became relatively easy to access as a result of reliable birth control plus abortion. And then now wealth, the ability, purchasing power, is going to become trivial as a result of AI. I don't know if that's likely, but let's say that Elon is right about that. Well, okay, then what exactly is supposed to structure your orientation to the universe? What is supposed to give you purpose? If it's not producing kids and protecting them from the horrors of the world and making them strong so that they can go out into it and accomplish important things of their own, and it's not creating wealth so that you will be rewarded and that your spouse will smile on you, whatever it is, then what is human purpose? I think this is a terrifying prospect, that everything might be taken care of for us and leave human beings listless.
Yes, it will. And this is what I keep pushing with this channel. Humanity as a whole needs to address this. This is an existential problem. This is an existential problem. This isn't cultural. Not that I'm saying, transgender issues or Fox News boilerplate politics crap doesn't matter, but this is what we're talking about here. Like what he's saying is complete removal of man from work, from society, from community, from God. Like, what are we talking about here? This is total restructuring of society, and it's putting all the control into the hands of a handful of elite people. Your cultural issues, no offense, aren't going to fucking matter, because all the mechanisms and all of the levers that control your society are going to be determined by people who aren't you, who don't have your ideas in mind. And they're building this grid exactly for that. And they don't even have humanity's best interest in mind. It's not even like it's not even like communism or fascism where, okay, there was an idea of how to run the state and it was authoritarian, but they had an idea of humanity and its place in the world. And it was bad and it didn't work out and it caused war and strife and famine. Of course, those were terrible. This is like beyond that. This is like post-ideology. This is like abstracted to the 10th degree, placing all of our hopes into these technocrats and then them placing all the power into technology that they control. We're left with the bag and you're just there to sunset your life, your lineage, humanity into death. And that's it. It's an old man sliding gently into a hot tub. That's what it is. Fabian socialism. I think that's what the technical term is. It's communism, socialism, but it's going the speed limit and it's incrementally working us towards a socialist technocracy. We have these problems that come out and it's like at the tip of the spear and everybody talks about how bad it is. And then it just goes away and nobody talks about it again, but it's still a problem. Like Jordan Peterson came on the scene and was talking about the meaning crisis. And it was so like, not revolutionary, but it was like, wow, it was something new. That was something new because he was kind of hinting at exactly what's going on in the world, the meaning crisis. We all have meaning in the world anymore, at least in the West. And I don't think we've ever actually gotten to any solution on that. I don't think we've gotten any closer over the last 10 years. Jordan Peterson's basically on his deathbed and nobody talks about it anymore. I'm like, I think we still have this problem with the meaning crisis. Same with the border. Do we talk about the border wall anymore? Where's that? I thought that would have been done first thing. No, deep state. Do we talk about the deep state anymore? We all agreed that was a thing in 2016, right? This fixed class in our government, the steering committees, the NGOs, all these people who are running things, who are really running things. We don't talk about them. Trump doesn't even talk about them anymore because he is one now. Sorry. Good rule of thumb, don't marry anyone who has won more of you. Yeah. Here's the thing, speaking from a male perspective, if you're not somebody who people would want to make more of, then they won't. Women have their own problems. I understand. They're brainwashed into thinking that rappers and gangbangers are attractive or whatever. That's a good quality mate. Football players and basketball players and shit. Like, I understand that's a problem. But on the inverse, men are also completely checked out of shit and they're not even trying. There's a lot of men who are black-pilled into oblivion. And it's like, yeah, there could be an element of where you might be able to rizz up that barista you see every other day, but you are in such shambles. You don't have a car, you live with your parents, you got acne on your face, you're overweight, you don't have any interests other than video games and red pill politics. Maybe that actually wouldn't work, but it might work in another timeline where you didn't have all that crap. The conclusion of a lot of the red pill space is retarded as shit too, because a lot of the conclusions of the red pill people are make money, work out, have Lamborghinis, have sex with a bunch of women, and that's it. The red pill space is just as a dead end as the incel space. They're two sides of the same coin. We have to have a third position. We need there to be third positionists here. We need the Christ pill. We need to take the Christ pill and go down the middle. I just think people need to really think about the propaganda and the issuance of new technologies in society that allow for that propaganda to come to fruition. We're reading changing images of man, and the images that they portray, the marketing, specifically, I think, in advertisements, but also I think just online on the timeline, people you see, these images that they portray to you are there to be a final destination that you might not be at right now, but you look at that and you go, I like that guy. He's got a lot of money. It's the mimetic theory. We've talked about that. He's got a lot of money. He's a streamer. He he commands a lot of followers. I want to be just like him. And you can kind of prop these people up, or you can kind of push these people into acting like this or being like this. We saw this with leftist media for years, how they had every other billboard. Target used to have gay, trans, fat, obese, whatever. And we would go, why are you putting that there? Well, red pillars, right wingers were right. We were like, yeah, you're trying to set the image of the age. And you're trying to also, I think to a degree, we're going to try and harness that with technology, maybe with chips in our brains, to pushing us towards, magnetizing us towards a image that we want. But I think that there might be too much pushback against that. I don't think that that's the image that they want anymore. I think they're pushing back on that's why woke is dead, woke is gone. That we tried that, didn't work. So we're going to try something else out. I don't know what the image is now that they're going to try. Some of it I feel like is going to be based in it's kind of neo-Nazi hierarchical society they're trying to get people on board with. But I think that we know who's going to be at the top of that. And some of that, it's like, I think, is that the image that is that the narrative we're trying to portray in people to get them on board with this? They have been indoctrinated. You have too, and so have I. We just have to be cognizant that we are being indoctrinated. We are being propagandized. And basically every facet of the internet, because the internet is a portal and it is a place where people can post whatever they want in front of you. And I keep trying to say this, like, I have these moments where I think the internet is I'm so attached to it, right? I'm on it all the time that you forget that it's detached from you. And these are random people you don't know. And you're like, wait a minute. Could this be the case that you're trying to propagandize me to believe in something for some other end, some end that might not even be there? Maybe you're trying to get me prepared, predictive programming in a way, to be prepared for a synthesis of a new technology. I don't know.